Shalom, shalom to those that are going to be watching later on. Shalom, shalom. And to those that are watching right now or hopping on, shalom, shalom. Make sure the sound is good. And to those that are watching right now or hopping on, sound is good. So again, shalom, shalom. I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to the one true power, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. And double honors to the elder apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well and teach well through the Spirit. And a mighty shalom to the hopeful elect that are scattered four corners of the earth in the same Spirit, teaching His word and believing His word. Shalom to the Akwath, believers of His faith and His truth. Lord willing that they continue to pursue their lot, which is being a loving and silent and virtuous wife. And Lord willing the Most have mercy on the other brothers and sisters that sign the faith. Just gonna go, Lord willing, into this point. Lord willing, this is edifying. This is really just flowing through the Spirit. Our brother had said something from me posting something off of a website, Jewish history website. And of course, we know that they're not the people. So what they wrote, I know, especially through the Maccabees, that this is really dealing with the real children of Israel. And again, Lord willing, this is edifying to those that are watching. Lord willing, you can learn something. And Lord willing, it makes you think. So, first thing I want to bring out, let me get my other phone. I want to read 2 verses real quick, the what I love. I'm going to go into 2 different books real quick. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 1, and I'm going to read verse 9. It says, history merely repeats itself. This is in the NLT. History merely repeats itself. It has all been done before. Nothing under the sun is truly new. Sometimes people say here is something new, but actually it is old. Nothing is ever truly new. When you go over to the 3rd chapter, verse 15, in the same one, NLT, it says, what is happening now has happened before, and what will happen in the future has happened before, because the Most High makes the same things happen over and over again. Now, this right here is a website that I have on the phone that we're going live right now. It's called thejewishhistory.org. And I think I'm in the history section. I forgot what section it is, but this is the Hellenist section. Oh shoot, got a little excited. Forgive me for that. I'm in the Hellenist section. If y'all can see this, it might be backwards on your side because I got the front camera on. But we're gonna read. The whole thing is important. I really want to deal with this part that I got underlined, but I want to read something on the first page in this paragraph right here, the second paragraph. And this is what it reads from the JewishHistory.org website. It says, for instance, the Greeks were great believers in nudity. Their sports were done in nude. Their bathhouses were attended in the nude. This is another reason why we have locker rooms the way that they are. A lot of these things stem from Greek and Roman culture. Let me see. In the ancient world, the Jews and some Arabs were the only people who were circumcised. Thus, if you wanted to be a good Greek, you were embarrassed to go to the bathhouses, or participate in sports. Consequently, Hellenized Jews underwent painful operations at a time with minimum uh, anesthesia to restore their foreskin and appear Greek. So what they would do is, if you don't know, and I was bringing this out in multiple videos, what they would do, and I might bring this out on TikTok another day too, what they would do is they already cut their foreskin off. They would go look for their foreskin and sew it back on so that they can appear Greek. Who does that sound like? Before we even I expound on that, let's keep reading. Um, it says, imported along with Greek language, customs, sports, were Greek idols and modes of worship, temples to the Greek gods and statues of Zeus, littered the countryside. They're just talking about sports. But this is the point, and I'm about to go further on to like the foreskin and who that sound like. So now we're on the second page, and we're reading this paragraph right here. It says, let me see. These Hellenist Jews hated their brethren and openly sided with the enemies of Israel to attempt to destroy the Jewish nation and faith. Let's prove that real quick. Let's go to the first Maccabees, the first chapter, and let's just go to one verse, which we can go to second Maccabees, but let's just go to this one verse. For those that get understanding, this should be plain for you. First Maccabees 1, verse 10. Yes, I'll just read verse 10. It says, and there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king, who had been in hostage at Rome, and he reigned the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks. In those days went there out of Israel wicked men who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. Right? Let's go down. Verse 42. Let me start at 41. It says, moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people and everyone should leave his laws. So the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. Yeah, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion and sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbath. So this is the same thing. Shalom. Shalom to the brother Yahweh Shai Brakatah. A lot of people cleave to the way. So going back to this website, thejewishhistory.org, on the second page of what I screenshot, it says, again, these Hellenist Jews hated their brethren and openly sided with the enemy of Israel, who tempted to destroy the Jewish nation and faith. They hated themselves for being Jewish and resorted to things like painful cosmetic surgery, not only to blend in better with the Greeks, but as a sign of defiance in their attempt to remove any trace of being Jewish, but really an Israelite, because ain't no Jewish, from their bodies. Naturally, the victory of the Maccabees over the Greeks, which we will discuss next, was a great disappointment to them. But going back, really going into the Israelites, let's go back to the point that I wanted to get to line up with that. So they didn't like themselves. They were doing cosmetic surgery to make themselves distinctly look like a Greek. So it says, if you, back to the first page, if you wanted to be a good Greek, you were embarrassed to go to the bathhouse and participate in sports. Consequently, Hellenized Jews, or Jews, underwent painful operations at a time with minimum anesthesia to restore their foreskin and appear Greek. What does that sound like? That sound like our sisters getting BBLs, right? Getting titty lifts, getting lips injection, getting back injections, right? Changing a forehead, changing a damn nose, cosmic change so that they can look Greek. Now most of our women either trying to look like in dang Edomite, right? Yep, I think that's it. But history is repeating itself. We just read this is all in the Greek captivity. And you got Jake, the women doing that now with plastic surgery. Some men taking the fat from around their stomach just to make abs instead of going to the gym. Even if they saying, oh, I want to do this, it's symbolic of them reflecting themselves like Edomites, because really doing plastic surgery and all that, that all stems from Esau, man. So again, this is the website, jewishhistory.org. Maybe if I get on TikTok, I might have to download or look up this website on this phone because it's on that phone, and I'll probably dissect it even more. But that right there just shows our people is redoing that now. So now let's deal with the point, because wickedness and righteousness is repeating itself in this earth. So now let me just get this. Let's go to Ecclesiastes, the 3rd chapter, because it's going to show you that wickedness and righteousness is under the sun, which technically is the place of judgment. This is Ecclesiastes 3:16. And moreover, I saw under the sun the place of judgment, that wickedness was there, and the place of righteousness, that iniquity was there. So wickedness and righteousness is under the sun. So man fell into sin, the earth became corrupt, and Yahweh judged with the flood. That's in the ancient world, right? Let's go to Genesis, the 6th chapter, right? If history merely repeating itself, we're doing the same thing, because why would Yahweh Shai compare Noah's time, Lot time, to when he returned? We're going to be doing the same thing. Because history is going to repeat itself. But of course, with technology and how we is now, we're going to be worse than what we was before. Right? So this is Genesis 6 and 5. But let me read, let's get some context. Let's start at verse 1. It says, and it came to pass when man began to multiply on the earth, multiply on the face of the earth, the daughters were born unto them, that the sons of the Most High saw the daughters of men, that they were feared, and that they took them wives of all which they chose. And Yahweh said, my spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also was flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. Right? We're supposed to be immortal, but now we got on this veiled body, we have an expiration date. This flesh do. It says in Yahweh, Salaki, verse 4, there were giants in the earth in those days. Now, you go into this word giant, it's not talking about somebody 9 foot. Oh, the book of Enoch, because it's the actual book, right? Let me check something. Because you can even go into the Maccabees that go into it too. Let me see. Let me see. Boom, 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 boom. But yeah, let's keep going. Right, right. Because when you go into seeing a beautiful example in the Hebrew Chaldee lexicon, that when you go into this word giant, which it has multiple meanings, which gig, cast, render, great, large, and body, but this is incorrect, for it means excellent, noble, and skillful, right? Um, Even like I said, when you even go into the Greek, they'll even go into it, right? Because really these giants were meant for, right? So we can just deal with the point, verse 5. It says, and there were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of the Most High, the sons of the Most High came in unto the daughters of men, they bare children of them, and the same became mighty men, which were of old, men of renown, right? Renown, celebrated, praised men. And when you even, what was it? When you look at it's three types of men on the earth in category: the sons of God, which is the Israelites; the son of man, which is all the other nations; and the sons of the wicked, which is the Edomites. The third of men is the Edomites, the son of the wicked. First is the sons of God, and then the son of men is the other nations. Right? I just wanted to make sure y'all get that. Verse 5, the Most High saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. This is back then. But we already went to the point of Ecclesiastes 1, chapter verse 9 and 10, and Ecclesiastes 3 and 15. We read in the NLT. You can read in the KJV and the NLT. History merely repeats itself, right? Wickedness was great in the earth. Wickedness is even great right now because Esau is the border of wickedness. Let's see, right? Because the people become just like their king, right? What is it? Let me just get it, because it said wickedness, and then now another verse just came to mind. We got to go to Malachi. Let's go to Malachi. Uh, this is Malachi chapter 1 and verse 4. Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down. They shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom Yahweh have indignation forever. Hold on. They're wicked. We got to get another one. What is it? Sirach, Ecclesiasticus, chapter 12. Genesis 6 and 5. It says, the Most High saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. Who created, my language, who created porn? Right? Wickedness, man. AI, marrying a robot, all these other things, wickedness have grown even worse because Esau, man. This is Sirach chapter 12 and verse 1. Never trust thy enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Right? The more it's just like metal on your car or anywhere, right? Let it get any water or any moist, that metal is going to get even rustier. That's how their wickedness is. It's like rust. It's endless. If Yahweh Shai would come for another 1,000, 2,000, 10,000 years, Man, with Esau, our brains would be in robots, right? So again, history repeats, wickedness grows, then judgment follow, which we're gonna have that when Yahweh shall return, right? So let's get to another point going into the righteous. We're gonna hop back and forth, I believe. How I got this study guide right here set up. So now we're gonna deal with the righteous remnant saved. The same thing, and this is how you know history repeats itself. Some of y'all just look at Noah point as that's just Noah, and then this situation happened. But Noah, you can't compare that to this and this and that. You have to understand Moses was even considered a savior in his time, right? So this is Genesis 6, verse 8. It says, "But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Most High." Grace is favor. These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man, a righteous man, and perfect in his generation. And Noah walked with the Most High. Even though he was just, he was perfect. All men came short of the glory. All men had. Paul, he was considered blameless, but still things that he did, he persecuted the church, which is technically a sin, right? But the Lord still called him into the ministry, right? So the Lord chose Noah. But when we read from verse 1 to 5, wickedness was great in the earth. But in the eyes of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Noah was just and perfect, and he walked with the Lord. Let me go check something out. In the NLT, it says, "This is the account of Noah," verse 9, "in his family. Noah was a righteous man, the only blameless person living on the earth at the time, and he walked in close fellowship with the Most High." That's why he was able to make the ark and bring his children into the ark. Now, let me just get something real quick if I can. Let me see if this is it. So when he walked with the Most High, he moved in the manner, usually moved in a manner that was pleasing unto the Lord. Again, people say the law wasn't here. The verbal law was. When we go to Romans chapter 2 and verse 14, I believe that's the one we want. If the Gentiles was doing this, especially when something is verbal, word of mouth, it wasn't written. This is Romans chapter 2 and verse 14. It says, "For when the Gentiles, which have not the law, do by nature the things contained in the law, these having not the law are a law unto themselves." Now, when you read it, let me see if we can get this for you guys in the NLT real quick. Romans 2 and 14. It says, "Even Gentiles who do not have the Most High's written law show that they know his law when they indistinctively obey it without having heard it." Right? So you had people even in the time of like Noah, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, they naturally was following the ways of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. Of course, they were raised in that way, but they naturally followed the ways that was pleasing in the eyes of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. Come on, man. So now, just to line that up, let's go to Isaiah 44 and 17. This is Isaiah 44 and 17. It says, "The residue thereof he maketh a god, even his graven image. He falleth down unto it. He falleth down unto it, and worshipeth it, and prayeth unto it, and saith, Deliver me, for thou art my power." Right? And Noah was found perfect and righteous In the time of wrath, he was taken and exchanged. Oh, Salaki, forgive me. Do not write that verse down. I'm in the wrong one. Salaki, don't write that one down. It's Sirach. I said Isaiah. Please don't write that down. Salaki. This is Sirach chapter 44, verse 17. But I'm going to start at 16. Soon as I read it, you're going to know Isaiah was not the one that we wanted. This is Sirach, Ecclesiasticus 44:16. Enoch pleased the Most High. He pleased Yahweh Shema Shai, and was translated, being an example of repentance to all generations. Noah was found perfect and righteous. In the time of wrath, he was taken in exchange for the world. Therefore was he left as a remnant unto the earth. When the flood came, a remnant, he was remaining. Noah was remaining. So again, it says, in the time of wrath, Noah was found perfect and righteous. He was taken in exchange for the world. Right? The Lord, I'm about to consume this, but hey, I'm gonna preserve you. Him being a remnant, he was still in the Lord's hands. That is amazing account. Yahweh always preserved a righteous remnant, even when the majority is wicked. Let's get a classic. Isaiah 1 and 9. Just as, even though this even goes back to Elijah, this Isaiah 1 and 9, it says, except Yahweh of hosts have left unto us a small remnant, we should have been as Sodom, and we should have been like Gomorrah. The Lord left a remnant. Even more why I say it even can line up with the time of Elijah is because Elijah felt he was the last prophet around, because it was like what, 450 prophets that bowed the knee to Baal. And let's see, I think it's in the same chapter. Let me make sure. Okay, it is. So I'm going to just read verse 10 to you. This is 1 Kings chapter 19, verse 10. I'll start at verse 9 so you can know it's Elijah. And he came thither into a cave and lodged there, and behold, the word of Yahweh came to him, and he said unto him, what doest thou here, Elijah? And he said, I have been very jealous for Yahweh, power of hosts. For the children of Israel have forsaken thy covenant, thrown down thy altars, and slain thy prophets with the sword. And I, even I only, am left, and they seek my life to take it away. When you drop down to verse 18, it says, this is the heavenly Father speaking to Elijah. It says, yet I have left me 7,000 in Israel, all the knees which have not bowed unto Baal, in every mouth which have not kissed him. Right? That is the example of a remnant. Those that are remaining in the faith. Right? Remaining in the truth. History merely repeating itself. We in 2025. The Lord woke, and I mean, of course, he had to wake us up wake us up again, right? Because even in the time after Yahushua, um, when Yahushua gave it the ghost, or when Yahushua got beamed up to the Father, he sent out the apostles to teach his word. Then eventually, even though that the southern kingdom, starting with Judah, wasn't receiving it, right? He pushed the gospel even to the Gentiles. Really, he was working into the end game for us, for our sake. Because now Jake, all four corners of the earth, had a Gentile mindset, right? So now this truth is scattered four corners of the earth to teach the remnant. Because those that believed back then was going to come back and believe again. History repeats itself, right? History repeats itself. I'm about to show you. I'm about to show you this one. And then, Lord willing, we can get back into the point. Let me just show you about John the Revelator. Um, is it the third? No, it's in Revelations. Let me make sure. This is the one we want. This is the one we want. So maybe you should mark this one down too. Revelations, the 10th chapter, in verse 11. This is, yes. What I'm going to do is I'm going to read verse 8 to 11. This is Revelations chapter 10 and verse 8. It says, "In the voice which I heard from heaven spake unto me again," this is John the Revelator, "and said, Go and take the little book which is open in the hand of the angel which standeth upon the sea and upon the earth. And I went unto the angel and said unto him, Give me the little book. And he said unto me, Take it and eat it up, and it shall make thy belly bitter, but it shall be in thy mouth sweet as honey. And I took the little book out of the angel's hand and ate it up, and it was in my mouth sweet as honey. And as soon as I had eaten it, my belly was bitter. And he said unto me, Thou must prophesy again before many peoples, nations, and tongues, and kings. Now, John the Revelator was in Patmos. He was of a very old age. The man got tortured, boiled in oil. Later on, he died of old age. He was going to teach and prophesy to many peoples, nations, and tongues, and kings. No, this is a future prophecy reference going into this little book being the Bible. So John is going to come back. John the Revelator is going to come back in his light, and he's going to be prophesying in the midst of the nations, right? Building up the elect and teaching the gospel to the other nations, because they pertain, they're part of this gospel too. Their role is servitude, destruction, right? Man, let's get another one. Let's go to Daniel. Daniel, the 12th chapter, the last verse. It says, But go thou thy way till the end be, for thou shalt rest and stand in thy lot at the end of the days. Right? Daniel was going to stand in his lot in this time. These is the ends of the days. Right? Because even when you start at verse 1 in Daniel, the 12th chapter, that's going into Jacob's trouble. All the prophets is coming back, right? Because the spirit of the prophets is subject to the prophets, right? History merely repeats itself. That's what we basically just show, scriptures repeating themselves, right? Let's go into Israel falls into wickedness, then they are restored, right? The same cycle happens with Israel. They fall into sin and then punished and then brought back. They fall into sin, punished, and then brought back. Let's go to the old history. I kind of really do. The book of Judges really get in there. And I might add some other ones on the side. This is Judges chapter 2 and verse 11. It says, And the children of Israel did evil in the sight of Yahweh and served Balaam. And they forsook Yahweh power of their fathers, which brought them out of the land of Egypt, and followed other gods, of the gods of the people that were round about them, and bowed themselves unto them, and provoked Yahweh to anger. Now, when you go into the first 5 books, especially when we go into Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy, he told them when you go into this land, don't do this, do this. But the Lord was telling them because it was going to happen, because the Lord declared the end from the beginning. In order for us to have this glorified ending, we had to fall. It had to be a teeter-totter, because the story, this is technically is a long story, because it could have ended whenever the Lord wanted it. But the Lord already set those prophecies dealing with Babylon, the Persian Medes, the Greeks, and the Romans, and then the little horn. So now it has to be fulfilled. So it ain't no stopping that in between. It had to be fulfilled. But even if you go to Judges, the 3rd chapter, this is how you know it was a little setup. This is Judges chapter 3 and verse 1. It says, now these are the nations which Yahweh left to prove Israel by them, even as many of Israel as had not known all the wars of Canaan. Right? So the Lord left these nations to prove Israel. Right? Let's see if it say something even smoother. Come on, let's see. Let's see if you're gonna say something smooth. Okay, in the NLT, Judges 3 and 1. These are the nations that Yahweh left in the land to test those Israelites who had not experienced the wars of Canaan. Right? The Lord was testing them. He did this to teach warfare to generations of Israelites who had not experienced in battle. Yo, look at us. Look what we going through the spirit. We're being tested right now, our faith. How? Because look, you don't even know who the hell you is. Your name got removed. You called by a new name. Everybody want to say, oh, how can you prove you're an Israelite? We're in a whole spiritual battle, while the Lord was proving them about war battle, physical battle. To 2 Timothy 2, he tell you, don't entangle yourself with the fears of this life. He that chose you to be a soldier, right? We're a physical but spiritual soldier on this side, because our weapons carnal is spiritual. So right now the Lord is testing us by our faith. Is you gonna believe when somebody tell you an Israelite and then go into the prophecies, the parables, and dark sayings? Yes, they might ask you who your father is, because in America, we can tell that the 12 tribes, that Judah is going to be an African American. But yes, outside of America, they're going to be called something else. I don't live out there. So in America, from those 12 tribes that are called that in the United States, hey, it's going to hit them if they are the elect. If I was in a whole nother country, we would be going to we'll still be using the same verses, and it's still going to line up, man. But the Lord would have to move us to go further in the research to understand the trade, the slave trade, and what was people called over here, what was people called over there. You understand? History merely repeating itself. The Lord is testing us now, right? Going back to Judges chapter 2, verse 16. Nevertheless, Yahweh raised up judges which delivered them out of the hand of those that spoiled them. The Lord already has Yahweh Shai on standby, waiting to come. But the Lord raised up teachers. We not fighting. We not fighting. We not like Moses delivering you out of his land. No, Yahweh Shai gonna deliver you. We have to edify you. That goes back to what I said spiritually. This is our test spiritually, right? Let me get, I think it's 2 Corinthians, right? This is our spiritual test, right? Which we walking out physically. This is 2 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 3. For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh. Just like what we read in Judges, we don't war after the flesh. For the weapons of our warfare, Judges chapter 2, right? Judges chapter 3, are not carnal, but mighty through the Most High to the pulling down of strongholds. That's this battle that we dealing with. We have to pull down the strongholds. While in this, They were fighting physical war battles. Right now, none of us can fight against Esau. I don't got no nuke. He don't got no nuke. He don't got a nuke that can go from continent to continent. We'll be done off. They got that one weapon where they can just point it at your house and they can you in your house. We can't stop none of that. We don't got no spiritual powers. Cause right now it's about the spiritual warfare, right? We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and high places. This is a new age. Now that Yahushua came, everything that we do right now is more spiritual. So again, Judges 2, Judges 3, right? The third chapter was to approve them that didn't see or had or who wasn't in war. They were approved by these other nations. But our war is 2 Corinthians 10, verse 3. For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh. For the weapon of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through the Most High to the pulling down of strongholds. This is the battle. And who was going to war? It wasn't women. So who was going to war? This another thing how you know it's for men. Right? This is Numbers chapter 1. This is Numbers chapter 1, verse 1. And Yahweh spake unto Moses in the wilderness of Sinai, in the tabernacle of the congregation on the first day of the second month, in the second year after they were come out of the land of Egypt, saying, Take ye the sum of all the congregation of the children of Israel, after their families by the house of their fathers, with the number of their names, every male by their polls, from 20 years old and upward, all that are able to go forth to war in Israel, thou and Aaron shall number them by their armies. Men are going to war, not women. So this is how you know that this pulling down the strongholds is all the men. You women really taking the back seat. You sitting on the bench, but you still working and to see if you have genuine faith. But to get your hands dirty, to really be blood, sweat, and tears in this thing, is really the men. It's the men. The Lord is making it all about the men. And guess what? You men, you got to toughen up because everything, all our burdens is on Yahweh Shai, but now you're holding on the load of your whole household, right? If you trim your faith, then now the fate of your family is in your hands. If you take the MOTB, that fate is in your hands. Now your whole family is going to be taken away from that salvation because it's all on the men. We have to finish this battle on this side, which is spiritually. Ooh, that's so, man, that's cold. The fault, man. That's so cold. Israel fall into wickedness, then restored. They fall into sin, punished, and then brought back again. Let's get this, and then I'm gonna go to a side one. I think I'm gonna go to Daniel, the 9th chapter. This is Nehemiah. This is Nehemiah chapter 9, in verse 26 to 27. It says, Nevertheless, they were disobedient and rebelled against thee, and cast thy law behind their backs, and slew thy prophets, which testified against them to turn them to thee, and they wrote great provocation. And even Elijah was saying that. It says, Therefore thou deliverest them into the hand of their enemies, who vexed them. And in the time of their trouble, when they cried unto thee, thou heardest them from heaven, and according to thy manifold mercies, thou gavest them saviors, who saved them out of the hand of their enemies. And those saviors go back to the judges, right? Even when you go to Obadiah 1 and 21, it say the same thing. Which through the Spirit, we're saviors too. But it's us teaching His word. Yeah, we and they messing them. They gonna tear up the whole car, but hey, who cares, man? It is what it is. This Obadiah 1:21. And Savior shall come up on Mount Zion to judge the Mount of Esau, and the kingdom shall be Yahweh's. Through the Spirit, we're standing up against Esau, right? That's Ezekiel 35, right? Ezekiel 35. It says, moreover, the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir. It's not the place, it's the people. Who ruled Mount Seir? Esau, Edom. That's I think you go to Genesis 36, you can see his land. It says, and prophesy against it, and say unto it, thus saith Yahweh by Shemashai power, behold, on my Mount Seir, I am against thee. I will stretch out my hand against thee, and I will make thee most desolate. Now, when you go to Isaiah 13, it says, lift up a banner, which is a sign, is Bible, and lift up a banner against a high mountain, which is America. Exalt thy voice and shake thy hand. Right? We're rebuking it, prophesying against it, and rebuking the nation that's in power. Come on, man. But let me go to Daniel, because we still looking at the consequences, the punishment that we had to go through. This is Daniel chapter 9 and verse 11. Yet all Israel have transgressed thy law, even by departing, that they might not obey thy voice. Therefore the curse is poured upon us in the oath that is written in the law of Moses, the servant of the Most High, because we have sinned against him, and he hath confirmed his words, which he spake against us and against our judges that judge us, by bringing upon us a great evil. For under the whole heaven have not been done as have been done upon Jerusalem. No nation could compare what happened to us to them, because ours is always pertaining that we reject the law of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, which the law was given unto us. He did that. That's a different offense to which you other nations. Oh, we're in captivity too. But where is it in the scriptures that you sinned or transgressed against the ways of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai? Right? So now we dealing with the prophets confirm history repeats. We're going to stay in the same chapter. We're going to read verse 5 to 7. This is Daniel chapter 9, verse 5 to 7. We have sinned and have committed iniquity and have done wickedly and have rebelled, even by departing from thy precepts, which is laws, and from thy judgments. Neither have we hearkened unto thy servants the prophets, which the Lord is redoing again, which spake in thy name to our kings, our princes, and our fathers, and to all the people of the land. They're doing that today, and people are not hearkening. O Yahweh, righteousness belongeth unto thee, but unto us confusion of faces. Because now Jake looking like the other nations. It says, as at this day, to the men of Judah and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, unto all Israel that are near and that are far off, through all the countries whither thou hast driven them, because of the trespass that they have trespassed against thee. O Yahweh, to us belongeth confusion of face, to our kings, to our princes, to our fathers, because we have sinned against thee. Right? Confusion of face. Come on, let's get Baruch chapter 2. This is consequences. History merely repeats itself. Why you think Jake running around with their head cut off? That's just a consequence. And the Lord is just waking up a remnant, those that believed since the beginning of time, because that you were programmed. Ephesians chapter 1. This is Baruch chapter 2 and verse 1 and 2. It says, therefore Yahweh Shemashai have made good his word, which he pronounced against us, and against our judges that judged Israel, and against our kings, and against our princes, and against the men of Israel and Judah, to bring upon us great plagues, such as never happened under the whole heaven, as it came to pass in Jerusalem according to the things that were written in the law of Moses, that a man should eat the flesh of his own children and the flesh of his own daughter. That's going to be Jacob's trouble. So that history merely repeating itself. This happened back then. Manasseh, they did it too, the Northern Kingdom. Guess what? We're going to do it again on this side, man. Come on, man. Let's get another classic. Let's get the Romans 15:4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. Right? The things that we bringing out is supposed to give you hope. Like, dang, man, that was us. From the good, from the bad. Oh, I don't like hearing the Bible. It's a lot of gore stuff. You want to hear these things. How the heck you think we got to where we at now? We pissed the Lord off. Yeah, a lot of y'all just think the Lord is going to be hugging and kisses and not no action, no consequences. Come on, let's make it make sense. Right? Yahushua brings the pattern for a circle. Wickedness was ruling under Rome, just like now. But Yahushua came to raise up righteousness. Right? Who was ruling in wickedness? The Pharisees and Sadducees, going all the way back to the Harmonians. I got that right here on my tablet too. The Harmonians were descendants of the Maccabees. Let me see if I can get that for us real quick. Where is it at? No, that's not it. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna just read some of it, then we get back to where we was at. So the Harmonians were a priestly family from the tribe of Levi, specifically from the line of Mattathias, right? The Jew priests in the time of the Maccabees. Around 167 BC, the Seleucid king Antiochus the Sixth Epiphanes tried to force Hellenistic Greek culture and religion on the Jews, even desecrating the temple of Jerusalem. Mattathias and his 5 sons, especially Judah Maccabee, led a revolt known as the Maccabean Revolt. After years of guerrilla warfare, they recaptured Jerusalem and rededicated the temple in 164 BC, which is the event celebrating Hanukkah. After the revolt, the family transitioned from military leaders to rulers. Judas Maccabees, leader of the revolt, Jonathan, his brother, became high priest. Simon officially established Harmonian rule around 142 BC. Eventually, the Harmonians made themselves both kings and high priests, even though they were not from the line of David, royalty, or Aaron. The high priest, the high priesthood line. This mixing of roles was controversial to some Jews. The Harmonian dynasty, approximately 140 to 137 BC, the Harmonians ruled in an independent Jew kingdom that expanded its territory and influence. You got John Hyrcanus, Aristobulus the First, and Alexander, Salome Alexandra, one of the few females that was in a high position, I guess. The fall of the Harmonians. It was a civil war between the Hyrcanus, the Hyrcanus the second, and Aristobulus the second, gave Rome an excuse to intervene. Or in 63 BC, Pompey of Rome conquered Jerusalem. Eventually, Herod, an Edomite appointed by Rome, replaced the last Harmonian king around 37 BC, ending the dynasty. Right? And we can go into a few points. Um, Daniel 11 verse 31 speaks of the foretell of the Maccabee revolt. 11 and 31, 11 and 32. But I just want to stay on the Harmonians. So this is the point, and then we're gonna move on. By Yahushai time, the Harmonians' line had already fallen, but they left behind the Pharisees and Sadducees who rose during after the Harmonians' era. We can read Matthew 3 and 7, Acts 23 and 8. The Herodian dynasty, Herod the Great, ruled Judea, installed by Rome, replaced the Harmonians. Matthew 2 and 1. Now when Yahushua was born in Bethlehem in Judea, the days of Herod the king. Herod married a Hasmonean princess, right? Legitimized his claim, but he was an Edomite by blood, right? Where you got the Herodian dynasty that they want to call. And that's why you get the Pharisees and Sadducees having a zeal for the law, where it says, um, a zeal for the law is righteous. First Maccabees 2 and 27, Psalms 119, verse 39. Mixing power roles lead to corruption, Jeremiah 5 and 31. Carnal revolt don't bring eternal salvation, only Yahushua can. Right? But we could keep on going into it, but you kind of get the picture. So going back to the point where we left off at, Yahushua is bringing the pattern and circle. Wickedness was ruled under Rome, just like now. But Yahushua came to raise up righteousness. Now, I was talking about our people, but Rome was ruling. So in this same time, Rome 2.0 was ruling. And we already showed with the BBLs, just like when we watched in the Greek captivity, brothers was being in the locker room butt naked. We see this now at the gym. You see it at work, you in the locker, men and women. That all comes from the Greek, right? Trying to be like them. Some of us wanted to be like the Greeks. We got in Rome captivity, wanted to be like them. And right now, Esau is making plastic surgery. Your lips can be changed. Your chest can be changed. It's a brother, what was like 5'7", 5'6". This man broke his kneecaps. He got surgery to break his kneecaps or however and stretch his height. So now he like 6'1". Later on, when he get of age, if we still here, his leg's gonna be fucked up. Hey, who am I? I'm just making a guess, because it's always a down effect by women that get butt surgeries, because she always has to get an update or to get checked in. Maybe something got deflated. Maybe the form is not right. She got to shoot some more. That all comes from the Greek captivity, right? So let's get St. John chapter 3 and verse 19. History is merely repeating itself now. This is St. John chapter 3 verse 19. And this is the condemnation that light is coming to the world. And men love darkness rather than light because their deeds were evil. Right? Even going back to Yahushua speaking to Nicodemus. Not many of the Pharisees and Sadducees believed or tried to build or get understanding under the Yahushua. They was trying to trap him, right? Again, this is the condemnation that light is coming to the world, which is Yahushua, and men love darkness rather than light because their deeds were evil. This is why they couldn't understand Yahushua, right? When brothers are saying live a simple life, get your daily bread. Nah, man, hey, I can get 6 figures. I can get this. Hey, get a job that's going to keep your lights on, whatever you got in your house, right? But make sure it's not, that goes off of another lesson I'm going to have uploaded. Don't over exaggerate what the heck you doing. That makes you distracted and giving you putting less effort into the Lord. Especially like the pot. If you got ability of teaching this word, that's your first job. Now, I have a job. I'm done. Oh, I'm about to quit my job. They keep making me work. Oh, man, I can't get no video. Look, I'm going to make sure if I can't get one while I'm at work during the time, I'm going to just wait till the next morning, right? When I'm off of work, right? I'm off of work now. Got off at 8 a.m., going back again at 8 p.m. So after today, because I had good sleep yesterday, but today I might have less. But guess what? I'm going to still have to force myself to do a lesson. And sometimes it just, if the fire get on me, if I get after I read, or if I'm thinking, moving around, the engine might, the spirit of the Lord might just move me to doing a lesson, right? It could be one, it could be two. I might already have it prepped at work. So as soon as I get out, instead of waiting, I just hop right into it, right? We can't be lovers of this world because there's already enough Jake that's doing it, because history merely repeats itself. Esau loves this world. He don't want his kingdom to end. You got Jake that loved this world. He don't want this kingdom to end. This is the same in the time of Rome. Like, look, if I go look up, uh, I can always come back to this. Let's see if we can get this real quick. Let me see if we can get this. Let me get this point real quick. This is St. John, the 11th chapter, in verse 47 to 48. Da, 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 da. I'm gonna start at 46. It says, but some of them went their ways to the Pharisees and told them what things Yahushua had done. Then gathered the chief priests and the Pharisee a council and said, what do we? For this man doeth many miracles. If we let him thus alone, all men will believe on him, and the Romans shall come and take away both our place and nation. Right? So this right here, it said, man, if people believe in him, Rome would take us over, and then we're gonna move out of power. They wasn't thinking none about no scriptures at all. They was thinking about their power, their role, their position in this thing, right? They admitted the issue. Not that Yahushua was wrong, but that Rome might see his following as a threat. Their fear was about losing rulership under the Romans. Guess what? The same thing we doing right now, Yahushua is getting followers now. We just read it in 2 Corinthians, the 10th chapter. We're not in this thing for a physical weapon. We're in here for a spiritual weapon to pull down the strongholds. And the strongholds was the Pharisees and Sadducees. They couldn't see it. They couldn't get it. This is St. John 12 and 19. The Pharisees therefore said among themselves, perceive ye how ye prevail nothing. Behold, the world is gone after him. The world is gone after him. They was afraid to lose their position, because if these believers start to believe in him, they're not going to have anybody to rule over. He's teaching this beautiful, strong authority doctrine. But guess what? The Pharisees was not saying order. They're allowing the temple of prayer, a temple of merchandise. You showing what type of leaders you is. You worried about this money. You worried about the tax, right? Because something, guess what? Y'all might get lesser tax while they're getting more tax. Rome would tell you, hey, look, I'm going to tell you, I'm about to raise the taxes in there, right? You better come up with something. They getting all these fire outfits, garments, dues, and medallions just to make themselves look like they're something, right? Yahushua is revealing this wickedness, man. Let's go to St. John 19, and let's read verse 12 and 15. It says, this verse 12, and from henceforth Pilate sought to release him, but the Jews cried out, saying, if thou let this man go, thou art not Caesar's friend. Whosoever maketh him a king speaketh against Caesar. They're caring about Caesar and not caring about Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua. Are you bugged out? I'm worried about Donald Trump, or what Donald Trump gonna think. Look, the same thing Yahushua was having us do at his time, or what he was doing at his time, is what he was having the apostles and us. When the apostles start teaching, eventually it was about to get hard and they were going to get persecuted. The Lord is building us up because now the church is about to get persecuted, man. That's all it is. History is merely repeating itself. Mainly we getting persecuted by words, or your video get reported, or your video get removed, right? Or TikTok flag it. They just doing verbal. This is all digital. But in a minute, it's gonna be physical persecution, just like back then, right? And you got some of these high. Oh, well, we're gonna be here for another 1,000 years. Now niggas, now the Lord is sifting brothers out. Now that up in the world, yeah, I'm still a Hebrew Israelite, but I'm not a part of them. Now a person want to show their true colors in the world. Because now they already made their mind up. I don't think the Lord coming yet. Because I don't see the persecution of the church yet. The Lord got people leaving the church, persecuting the church. You know what I'm saying? People really don't understand what's really going on, but it's right in front of our face. Right? Verse 15, it says, they cried out, away with him, crucify him. Polite saith unto him, shall I crucify your king? The chief priest answered, we have no king but Caesar. Are you? This is like a nigga now saying, Yahweh Shai not our king. Donald Duck is. Donald Duck is doing more for us than what Yahweh Shai did. He's up in the heavens just watching us suffer. Literally, man. Literally, if he deny Yahweh Shai, denying the heavenly Father. We don't got no king. So if Yahweh Shai not your king, then the heavenly Father is not the ruler over you. 1144, just when it come on, it's 1144. Just come on, man. Literally, we in that time right now. Right? This is why brothers should be examining how they teaching, how they moving. Yahweh Shai should be Yahweh Shai should be ruling you. He should be ruling in the midst of your household. Right? Let's go to Matthew 27. Dang, man, I just got excited for, man. Yahweh Shai got me excited. This is Matthew 27, verse 18. It says, let me start at verse 17. It says, therefore, when they were gathered together, Pilate said unto them, whom will ye that I release unto you? Barabbas or Yahweh Shai, which is called Hamashiach? For he knew that for envy they had delivered him. Right? In envy, they were jealous of Yahweh Shai. How he was moving, how people were just cleaving to his words. He wasn't asking about money, no, none of that. That's why they trying to trap him up with money. Right? So what should we do with Caesar's money? No, reward Caesar. What is Caesar? We'll reward the Heavenly Father, which is the Heavenly Father's. They felt stuck. Right? Even Pilate saw that envy, loss of influence and power, was the Pharisee motive against Yahweh Shai. They did not want to lose that power. It's just like a regular Jake instinct. Brothers is probably tight. Pastor Tahar is the elder. And I'm not even though he's a man in the flesh, but through the spirit, the Lord is working with him. I never met him before. I never met him, Pastor Gabar, Pastor Ramla, Pastor Rakah. I never met him. I never met Amawan Gabar. I never met the elder Yashawamba. I never met them. But the Lord is dealing with these men, and you got some, oh man, I'm better than them. You got men calling themselves chief. The same example as these fools, man. This is, history is merely repeating itself. Lord willing, if anybody understand it, you put a one in the chat. Shalom to the brother Yahweh Shai Barakatah. Right? Let's get one more. Let's get Acts the 5th chapter, verse 17. Verse 17, it says, then the high priest rose up, and all they that were with him, which is of the sect of the Sadducees, which is a camp, and were why? And laid their apostles and put them in common prison. Yet now we already went through precepts on on Yahweh Shai during the time of Yahweh Shai. Now this is after Yahweh Shai. So this shows you we're about to go through the same thing as Yahushua and the apostles. We're not greater than Yahushua, but Yahushua ministry was getting persecuted. The apostles was getting persecuted, which is Yahushua's ministry. We're going to get a physical persecution. Right now, you getting the verbal, you getting the digital, right in the comment section. Oh, you bugged out. That's okay. That's gonna happen. But watch, we gonna see who really about this faith when they get physical. Physical, man. It says, but the angel of Yahweh Shemashai by night opened the prison door. Guess what? The spirit of Yahweh Shemashai is compelling us to continue to keep teaching. Even if I might say I'm at work like, man, what lesson go over my mind over here? I'm not going into prophecies. I'm not going into this. I'm going into Yahweh Shai. I'm going into the apostles. I'm going into the name of the Lord. And then I went to the bathroom. I got to rebuke you in the name of Yahweh Shemashai because the Lord already got me doing the work. But I'm over here dissing myself because I'm thinking I'm not doing enough. Then I watch a video where a brother said, do you think you ready? Do you think you ready if Yahweh Shai come today? He said, if you say no, if you say yes, and then all hell break loose, and then you start trembling in your faith, then you wasn't freaking ready. But then he was really talking about men. He said, you make yourself ready on the attendance you're doing for the ministry of the Lord. And really, what us men is doing for this ministry, women are going to automatically cleave. Your women and your children, let alone, this is how that Isaiah 4:1, women are going to cleave to men that are really devoted to Yahweh Shem Shai. Because it all goes back to the man. When all hell break loose, if a woman of the faith, those women, the Lord is preserving you to be with a man. And it doesn't matter how many they got. He's going to be your protection because the Lord going to make him a savior for that surrounding, whoever is surrounded around him. You understand? But this ministry, this is the last go. This is the last time the ministry going to ever get persecuted. So that's why you have to make today the day you're ready. Make tomorrow the day you're ready. The next day. Every day you're supposed to be thinking, the Lord might come tomorrow. He might come tomorrow. He might come tomorrow. Oh man, he coming next week. Oh man, he coming next week. Oh man, he coming next week after that. Oh no, he coming next month. Every day your attendance in this ministry shows your action or thought that the Lord is coming today or he coming tomorrow. But if your attendance is getting slack, less and less, you start getting comfortable. Well, I don't think the Lord is coming. It been 6 months already. It been a year already. It been 2 years already. Yarmayan said, just like the apostles, even though we see that the times is getting short, the Lord about to come, you have to be ready. What if we were here for another 5 or another 10 or another 20 or another 30? Be ready not to fall out. Be ready to go even harder. The apostles have been in this thing for 40 years. You have to continue this endurance because they are the example. I never been in this thing for 40 years. Never. Never, ever. The Lord made it easy for me. He allowed me to come in when technology was at its uprise because he like, I'm about to make it easy for you. Already showed your guiltiness, right? So the Pharisees did not want Yahushua rising up because it meant Rome might take away their position, showing their loyalty was a political power and not of the Most High. And if they were about political power and things of this world, that goes back to what we read. They love not the light, and that goes with what I brought out today in First John 2:15-17 in the NLT. You know, when we're of this world, actually, let me read that for you, and Lord willing, you get to go watch that video later today or whenever I upload it. This is saying 1 John chapter 2 in verse 15-17 the NLT. It says, do not love this world nor the things it offers you. For when you love the world, you do not have the love of the Father in Uh-oh. I think we back. I think we back. Oh, I think we back. Okay, we back. We back. We back. Okay, because I forgot what I even said. I'll just read this verse again because we froze. This was Luke chapter 1, verse 68. Blessed be Yahweh Shemashai, power of Israel, for ye have visited and redeemed his people, and have raised up a horn of salvation for us in the house of his servant. Verse 71, that we should be saved from our enemies and from the hand of all that hate us. The Lord is bringing it all the way back around where now we're about to be delivered. Wasn't we delivered from our enemies in Egypt? Yes. Yes. The Lord is bringing it all the way around circle. This is the last point. End time cycle. Wickedness now, righteousness next. Just as the day of Noah, so now wickedness is ruling, but righteousness is about to be established forever. Of course, we go to 2nd Ezra 6 and 9. Esau is the end of the world. Jacob is the beginning that followeth. But let's go to Matthew 24:37. This is Matthew 24, verse 37. O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, thou that killest the prophets and stonest them which are sent unto thee, how often would I have gathered thy Salaki. I'm getting a little too excited. Matthew 24, verse 37. I'll start at verse 36. But of that day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only. But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man. Right? Even when we go to Luke, it would be the same. Just as Noah and just as Lot, Yahushua is going to do a deliverance. Look, that just shows right there, just like in the days of Noah, so shall the coming of the Son of Man. He's going to come just like how that flood was, right? For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking and marrying and giving in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. Yahushua is going to be that water. When that flood came, that is symbolic to Yahushua, because they didn't believe it. We out here telling you Yahushua coming back. The circle is coming back. We're like Noah right now. The flood is coming, which is Yahushua and the angels, man. The power of Yahweh Shema Shai is on his way. And a lot of you, Jake, ain't going to even pay attention. But the last second, oh, please let us in. It's over. While we beamed up, I can't help you. I'm sorry. That's why in that time, it's going to be more women getting humbled than men. Right? The 144,000 and then the 1/3 is going to be men and women and children. But it's going to still be more women than men. Women, I'm telling you, it's going to be a lot of women that cleave to men. Some women is going to be preserved for the men of the Lord, because you even got when we come back down in the wilderness. But literally, women are going to cleave to the men of the Lord, and that's part of your Savior. That's your Noah right there. That's your Noah right there, man. That's technically your Noah. I like the ring of that. I'm your Noah. Symbolically, right? This is 2nd Ezra 6 and 27. It says, for evil shall be removed and deceit shall be abolished. Wait, I want to make sure this is because I know sometimes this joint show GNT. So 2nd Ezra, the 6th chapter, in verse 27. Okay, it is. That is GNT. I said at 25, it says, whosoever remaineth from all these that I have told thee shall escape and see my salvation in the end of your world. And the men that are received shall see it, who have not tasted death from their birth, and the heart of the inhabitant shall be changed and turned into another meaning. For evil shall be put out, and deceit shall be quenched. Right? And that's the time of Yahweh Shai. When you go to 2nd Ezra 15:4, I believe, it says, for all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. That's why the unfaithful was those that got consumed by that flood, right? It says, behold, saith Yahweh Shemashai, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, and death, and destruction, and wickedness have exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hopeful works are fulfilled. Therefore, saith Yahweh Shemashai, right? They're going to get hit. You 2/3, you Edomites, and you other nations. Yahweh Shemashai is going to catch you off guard when you least expect it. That's how a real thief in the night moves, right? When you least expect it, right? Let's get 2 Peter's chapter 3 and 13. This is 2 Peter's chapter 3 and verse 13. It says, nevertheless, we, according to his promise, look for new heavens and a new earth wherein dwelleth righteousness. That new is saying refresh, a refresh heaven, which is really rulership, and a fresh earth, right? Where the earth is going to be expand, right? And of course, things are about to go back into its order, right? Being more abundant. The animals back in their order. They're not going to be in zoos, right in their rightful habitat, right? And really under the children of Israel, they're not going to do no harm, right? We're going to be one with nature. Like in the time of Adam, all the men of the Lord under Yahweh Shai are going to be like Adam, right? We're going to be kings and priests in the heavens, and all things are going to be under our authority. Starting with Yahweh Shai, King David, the 12, and the rest of the 144,000. Because David and the 12 is stemming out of the 144,000. And then you got the other men, that's part of the 1/3. You got women and children. And then of course, when the 2/3 later on come back in the kingdom through sex, they're going to be the least in the kingdom. And that's what Yahweh Shai was speaking. The least in the kingdom is going to be greater than John. So they're still going to have value. They're still going to be over the other nations. But the main point of this story is to get salvation on this side, right? Those people that died in the flood, they came back on the earth. But which is really the great memorial? That Noah built an ark, him and his 3 sons and their wives and Noah's wives remained in the boat, and nobody else in the earth was living. So you want to be the ones that get beamed up in your ark, right? This truth is a spiritual ark, but we're going to get in that physical ark, which is the chariot, and get beamed up, which is going back into Noah. And then the elect in the kingdom is going to bring back the 2/3 through sex, through the wives that they have. They're going to go back to following the law, being fruitful and multiply, right? Every woman is going to be happy to have a baby, you know what I'm saying? And that's why now we want to be able to establish the Lord will on earth now, not by let me physically build this, let me physically get riches. No, you want to establish the kingdom on earth, which the kingdom is within you. Luke the 11th chapter. The kingdom is within you. Wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. So if you're a man and a woman and you got the wisdom, knowledge, understanding, especially you women being guided by your husband, right? The things that he liked, how he owner his house, how you see the things that he like, right? You're going to establish the will of the Lord by how you play your role as a wife, a mother, a sister, and a believer. And you're going to constantly battle with your flesh, but try to establish the will that the Lord already gave us in these scriptures. That's why us men, we have to move the way we're moving, because we're trying to establish the Lord will within ourselves on earth. But we know when Yahweh send Yahweh Shai, we're going to fully be that individual, right? Heavenly Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. The kingdom of the Lord is already within you, which is the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. We have to apply it in this wicked world. Without this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, I would probably need a whole nother job. I wouldn't be the mindset that I am. Because of the kingdom is within me, my mindset is different. The things that I want is a little different. And I might need more structure. I might want this and I might want that to make it easier on that person, make it easier on that person, make it easier on me, to make it easier on the children, make it easier on the task that's in front of us. But guess what? It's all in the will of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. If we want to continue to go forward, if we want to continue to be in this truth, it's all the will of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. If your family stay in order, it's all the will of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. But we have to establish that. If you have the wisdom to teach them children what they should do and what they shouldn't, we should be establishing that right now, because that's our work, you know. But Lord willing, this is edifying. We could keep going into this, but I wouldn't want to mess up the live where I'm going more than a whole hour and some change. But that was edifying. There's so many points in here to show history merely repeating itself. So with that, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash, Brakati Yahweh, Brakati Yahushai, double honors to the elder apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who rule well and teach well through the Spirit. Mighty Shalom to the hopeful elect in the same Spirit and in sound doctrine. Lord willing that y'all continue. Shalom to the Akwath, believers of this faith and this truth. Continue to pursue your lot, being a loving and silent, virtuous wife. And Lord willing, the most have mercy on the other brothers and sisters that's not in faith. Abba Ball, Shalom, Shalom. Always welcome. Ayam Dabar. Shalom, Shalom.